Today to the ANC's decision to recall him. ANC Secretary General Mzwandile announced yesterday the party's NEC had decided to recall the president, but said no deadline had been given. The party says the president had asked for a 3 to 6 month notice period before resigning, but that this had been rejected. Mzwandile also said that no deal had been struck with President Zuma on leniency from any possible prosecution. The Finance Minister, Mzwandile, has also spoken out. He told international TV network CNN that President Zuma is expected to address the nation at 10 o'clock this morning on issues surrounding this recall. Obviously, that so-called deadline of 10 a.m. has passed. The presidency has since denied this. So let's get more now from our presidential correspondent, Mzwandile Mbeje. He's at the Union Buildings. Mzwai, good afternoon to you. So just to clear things up for us, I mean, we had that statement last night that the president would give a statement at 10 a.m. this morning. We had Mzwandile speaking yesterday at the media briefing saying that the president would speak out today. And we had Mzwandile saying that he was confident the president would address the nation today. But that 10 a.m. deadline or no deadline has been and gone. So will we hear from the president today is the big question.
We expect to hear from the president today, as confirmed by the Secretary General of the ANC. You remember he was the one who was tasked with the responsibility of delivering that letter informing him of his recall. So there is no reason, I think, for many of us not to believe the Secretary General, because the President, I guess, would also want to inform the nation so what his next move, given that his party has decided that he leave office. As for the statement with regards to the 10 o'clock deadline, it was not from the presidency, and I think that's why they have said they've actually issued a denial saying so there was never a statement to that effect. So people had just, I don't know, may have got the information from where they got it, but indeed we expect the presidency or the president to give some kind of communication today. Because the fact of the matter is that the governing party has taken a decision. He is the president of the country. The party that has sent him to serve there has decided that he now must come back. So, and then he would need to take the nation into his confidence, inform them, and we expect him to actually say, given that he serves at the pledge of the party, then he will accede to that request that his party has just forwarded to him.
All right, Mzwai, I mean, listening to the radio this morning, I heard that, you know, there were various media personnel starting to gather outside the Union Buildings in anticipation of this 10 a.m. address from President Zuma. So it just goes to show that there is a certain amount of mismanagement of communication with all these contradictory statements and then releases and not releases of information. What is a better way that the ANC could actually do this, that the information is forthcoming to people and that we don't get these mixed messages?
I think where perhaps they could have coordinated it better is between the ANC and the presidency. Remember, the fact that most of us are here today is because of that press conference addressed by the SG of the ANC, Mzwandile, who basically told us that you guys will hear from the president when he responds tomorrow. Then he was talking about when he said that yesterday. So this is why all of us then are here. But from the president's side, they have not issued any statement. The only thing they have issued was the denial to say there's been no formal communication on the part of the presidency. So I guess when they are ready to do that, they would do as they would normally do, issue a formal advisory in advising us that perhaps we'll be here. We go inside because most of us, as you had said, are here outside the Union Buildings, of course in anticipation that that call or that advisory would come.
Yeah. And you must have heard, Mzwai, that the EFF has suspended its urgent court application following engagements with the ANC caucus. That caucus got underway at 11 o'clock at Parliament. Just take us through what this potentially means.
It does tell you that they're trying to, I think, come to some sort of agreement in terms of what should happen in Parliament should, let's say, the President give his address that would not be what they expect of them. Remember, the EFF wanted this thing done as soon as possible, and the ANC convened an urgent caucus today. And I think given that the ANC is now clear insofar as what it wants to do, so it was easy then to engage the EFF. Because I think the scenarios that are being laid out here is that in the event President Zuma perhaps says he's not stepping down as President of the Republic, remember, it's the Parliament that can remove him. So then that caucus will then get an instruction to perhaps work with opposition parties to effect that motion of no confidence. So I would see it in that broader context to say, so they've asked them to perhaps postpone it because should there be a need for them to work together, so they'll be able to do that. So that's why I think it's going to happen.
But Mzwai, just on that, didn't we hear Ace Magashule yesterday saying at the press briefing that there wouldn't be any motion of no confidence from the ANC, and he certainly wouldn't be supporting a motion of no confidence? So again, this contradiction in information.
This is what I think would happen in the event the President doesn't resign, as the ANC expects of him. The ANC will probably want to own the process because remember, and Kwetemantashe, the chairperson of the ANC currently, has always said it's very dangerous to be commanded by enemy forces. The ANC has taken a decision that their president must be recalled. So in the event he refuses, for example, so then the ANC will want to take the initiative itself, not necessarily be led by opposition parties, because if, for example, the ANC were to allow itself to be led by the opposition, can you just imagine going into 2019? The opposition would rightfully say, so you guys said your president must resign and he didn't, but we got him out of power. So people of South Africa better trust us because we can do things happen. So I think that it's in that context. So the ANC is very well aware of this, that if its request is not acceded to, it must own the process, it must initiate its own. That's what is happening.
All right, Mzwai, thanks for that. Trust is the key word there, I think. Mzwandile Mbeje, live for us from the Union Building.